The rest of the offseason needs, though, they move forward. At this point, we're starting to think Matt Canada's sticking around, at least for the time being. They're going to have, I think there's 8 unrestricted free agents heading into the offseason, including guys like Terrell Edmonds and guys like Cam Sutton, Larry Ogunjobi, Devin Bush, obviously. What is your biggest offseason need for the Pittsburgh Steelers if you look at the grand scheme of things right now?
I really think linebacker is the biggest, and that'll transition into what we're going to talk about next. But yeah, I don't think you can walk in. I don't think they're going to bring back Devin Bush, and I don't think you can feel very comfortable about walking into next season with Robert Spillane as your top. I guess not maybe your top, but one of your top linebackers. Like I would not feel comfortable starting him in that role for a whole season. I feel like he's too easy to exploit a lot of his weaknesses. So I think linebacker is definitely the biggest need, but I do, just in terms of how they approach it, I'm not sure how they do that. I don't know how many great linebacker prospects there are going to be at their spot in the draft. The free agents are going to be expensive. It's and for a team with not a ton of cap space, it's going to be something that's difficult to manage. So I don't know if it'll be the first need that they'll address, but I think it's the biggest one that they have.
Do you think that they would draft a linebacker with the 18th overall pick? Say Noah Sewell's there out of Oregon. Are you taking an inside linebacker in the first round? Seems like a ballsy pick all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they don't have a great track record of picking inside linebackers in the first round, but
I mean, sometimes they do. Just Devin Bush was a rough one, but I just mean in general, like taking an inside linebacker, there's so many other positions of value, I think, that are higher than inside linebacker in the first round. Like if you skip a cornerback with the 18th pick, right, skip a guy like Joey Porter, you're not going to get another Joey Porter. Whereas you could get like a smaller step down from Noah Sewell, likely in the second round.
Right. That's a good point. And I was kind of thinking about that too. Like if Sewell fell, he'd make you think twice about it, but I think they would still end up taking, Porter's, Kaylee Ringo, maybe if he's still there.
If Ringo falls to 18, you snag him. That dude's a monster.
Right. There are a million other guys I think that would serve you a little bit better in the immediate future. And I think you can address linebacker other places. Linebacker feels like another one of those spots where it is relatively easy to find some value in later rounds.
Yeah, I agree. I think that inside linebacker is a good one. It's a very strong move for the Steelers, something that they've struggled with. They've tried so hard to fill the gap. I think they have something in Robert Spillane. Do you expect Robert Spillane to be back next season?
Yeah,
I talked to him a little bit Tuesday.
Monday. Yeah, I expect him to be back. I don't. That's a good question, actually. I think right now I'd lean back. Lean towards him coming back. I kind of don't know what he's going to get on the open market. I don't know what did that end of the season say about him, and what do NFL teams think about it? I'm not.
What
really
do other
sure.
NFL teams think about it? I think that's the thing. Is like, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you obviously value Robert Spillane. But if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, do you value Robert Spillane in the same light, or do you just look at Robert Spillane as the guy that fits well in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh seems to really like him? I don't know. What's the top dollar you're paying for? Just to put in, context here, Myles Jack, who's still on the roster, is expected to get $11.25 million next season. Yeah. Spillane is not going to get that, obviously. But if you're bringing Spillane back, what's the max value you think you're giving him? You think you're pushing 10 or no?
No, I don't think so. Well, especially because if you're assuming, if all things go right and you can get, if all things go right, he's a backup next year.
Okay. Yeah, really?
I think so. Yeah. Like a
2, like a 1B, or like a coming off the bench guy.
Like a coming off the bench guy. Like we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about this in our next kind of segment. But if you can land I think they need to land a starting caliber linebacker, and if you get one of those, Robert Spillane is getting pushed back.
Wow.
So I don't
know. You keeping Jack?
Yeah, I think so. Jack was pretty good this year. Like Jack was like your leading tackler this year. I liked Myles Jack.
Yeah. Not against it. Just wondering.
Yeah, and I if you can sign a Tremaine Edmonds or whatever to tease our next thing a little bit. But like if you can get one of those guys, like I don't know, Robert is good in doses. Maybe it's more of a 1A type of thing, but I think he's not starting next year if everything goes right and you kind of have an ideal offseason. So 10 million would definitely no, I'm not paying.
No, there's no way, not for a backup. Not for
like,
back. You're looking at 2, maybe 3 max for Robert Spillane. I would say.
Ooh, I don't know. That seems
low. Well, if you're coming off the bench, I feel like if you're like my thought was $5 million. I'm handing Robert Spillane $5 to $8 million and saying, hey, come on back. You're gonna be our starting guy. I don't know about I'm still uncertain about Miles Jack. Not that I don't like Miles Jack. I just don't know if they're gonna bring him back. I don't know if the groin injury played more of a factor in his decline towards the end of the season rep wise, or if it was the fact that they just really liked Robert Spillane. Couldn't tell you. But I'm not totally sold they're going to bring Miles Jack back. I don't think Miles Jack's totally sold that he's going to come back as well. But if Spillane, if you could make Spillane a backup, I think that's the best course of action. I've thought that the whole time, but in my eyes, they view him as a starter, which is not ideal. And I like how you say in a perfect world, like in best case scenario, he's coming off the bench. And at that point, like 2 to 4, 2 to 5, maybe. I don't think you're going over that.
I'd be perfectly comfortable with 5. That seems right. That seems perfect.
Yeah, $5 million and then come off the bench. That's a good trio. A lot better than you had coming into this year. And we'll get into Edmonds and we'll get into other options there as well. But okay, I could see that. I could definitely see that. My biggest offseason need, I think there's 2 of them. My starter is defensive line. Because you got Cam Hayward, who you could still bank on for at least another year. I'd say 2 years. You got TJ Watt and you got Alex Highsmith for another season. You have DeMarvin Leal coming off the bench. You're going to hope that he does all right. I think you're going to bring back Montravius Adams. You don't really have anybody else. And I don't think Leal's a starter. I don't think I would start Leal. You need a true-blooded defensive end, like another Larry Ogunjobi, but somebody that you could have for longer than a season. And then you need a nose tackle more than you need maybe anything, because the Steelers saw what could happen when you don't have a nose tackle this season against the run. And my God, they were hoping that Tyson Alualu was that guy again. He's not. He's probably going to retire. He's got a banged up knee. You need somebody, whether it's a Javon Hargrave or whoever, you have to go get that big body in the middle. That's my go-to.
Yeah, and I think you venture into an interesting place, which is when we talk about biggest offseason need is the difference between needing to add new guys versus retain some of the guys they have. Like keeping Alex Highsmith around is going to really impact. Like that's another big part of that defensive line. I guess that's not this offseason, but
but they'll still negotiate this offseason.
Right, that action is going to happen this offseason. And I think the same thing is true at corner too with Cam Sutton.
3, 2, 1. Happy New Year from our friends over at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that doesn't mean you have to drop the ball on your balls in 2023. Whether you had a bad New Year's kiss or not, the leaders in below the waist grooming have you covered from your much needed resolution, bringing sexy back. Join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use our code STEELERS20 for 20% off and free shipping. Let us have a toast for the new year and new you and a new you with no pubes. It's a New Year's, new balls with the global leaders in below the waist grooming. This year, take your package to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and other premium wet goods. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate parts. It also comes equipped with a 4000K LED spotlight that will shine a light to the promised land 2023 looks to be. A grooming routine isn't complete without applying Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver before showing off your 2023 self. These unique formulations take care of the smelliest parts of your body and are a good boost to your confidence bringing in to the new year. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs as a free gift to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. If you really want to make 2023 the year to remember, make sure to try out Manscaped's wet goods as well. This includes the Ultra Premium Body Wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and body deodorant. These products are the absolute perfect follow-up after your New Year gym session. Cheers to new balls in 2023. Get 20% off with free shipping with our code Steelers20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And all you have to do is use our code Steelers20. Time to feel sexy and free this 2023 with Manscaped.
There are a couple positions where they need help and they also need to retain some guys, which kind of makes things. So I was thinking of it more in terms of adding new guys, but I think you're absolutely right on the defensive line. I think it's interesting that we think they need to add more to the best unit on the team. Like the defense led this team this year, and they still need more.
I think it's because you look at the offense and they're just so young. You could come up with so many excuses. Outside of Derek Watt, the oldest guy in that unit is 26 years old. That's nuts, and it's Mason Cole. Who you talk to Mason Cole, look at Mason Cole, you're like, oh, that's a veteran. That's a 30-year-old. He's pushing the end of his career. No, Mason Cole could be around here for another 5 to 10 years. It wouldn't impact anything at all, along with the rest of that offensive line. So I think that, obviously left tackle is a huge need. But if you walk into next season and Dan Moore Jr. is your left tackle and Kevin Dotson's your left guard, I don't know. I feel better about that than if you walk into next season and DeMarvin Leal is your only option at defensive end and Montravius Adams is your only option at nose tackle, and then you got Isaiah Loudermilk coming off the bench. Or if Robert Spillane and Mark Robinson are your inside linebackers, that concerns me way more than anything on offense, really. I'll walk into the season with Steven Sims as a slot wide receiver or Connor Hayward as the backup tight end before I'll skip inside linebacker or defensive line if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Definitely. And I think you can count on, like you alluded to, you can count on the offense getting better with an extra year of just working together.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
An extra year of all of them just being in the NFL together. More than you can count on Cam Hayward putting up double-digit sacks again next year, or something like that.
No, I agree. And that's how you have to view. So yeah, it is definitely surprising, but I don't know. You just look at the grand scheme of things, and if the Steelers are going to turn this into a Super Bowl team, you got to have a dominant defense. That's how they win Super Bowls. That's how they've always won Super Bowls. You cannot let that go to the wayside. I think corner and safety is also a big one on there. You have options at corner. People, I think, kind of brush by the fact that right now the Steelers have Levi Wallace, Ahkello Witherspoon, and William Jackson on the roster heading into the summer, which isn't great, but those are three options that are probably competing for a starting job across the NFL. I still think you bring Cam Sutton back. You have to bring Cam Sutton back. I'd be okay with bringing Sutton back, releasing the rest of them, maybe except for Levi Wallace. And then you have to re-sign Terrell Edmunds. I don't even think that's a question. He's the first guy I'm re-signing in the offseason. Zero, because he makes Minkah Fitzpatrick better. What are you going to do? You're going to start Trey Norwood? I think Trey Norwood's a great guy and a developing player, but he's not going to start and be the same guy that Terrell Edmunds is. I think he's priority. If I'm lining up the list, and maybe you feel differently. If I'm lining up the list and I'm looking at all my free agents, the first one I'm resigning is Terrell Edmunds. The second one I'm resigning is Cam Sutton. And then I'm talking to Robert Spillane and Larry Ogunjobi, I think third, and seeing what one I could work out.
Yeah, I like that. I completely agree. And Terrell also feels like it'll be the easiest one to get done. I feel like he wants to be here. Every guy says they want to be here. I feel like Terrell has truly thrived here and just likes being here. I think if you can, I think Terrell
pay him, but I agree.
But I don't know, he's deserved it. I don't know. You're not gonna. The thing about paying people is that usually you get value back for it. I don't know. I think maybe we talked about this last week, or the last time we talked in the podcast, but we get scared by numbers so much. I think as fans.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's just the off season and there's no football actually going on, you get scared by the numbers because you don't see the value right away. But Terrell Edmunds brings exactly as much value as he's going to get paid, you know?
Yeah. And it's the craziest part is like you talk about Terrell Edmunds like taking a huge pay, like a jump because he deserves a jump, but he got paid $2.5 million this season, and Spotrac's estimated market value for him is 2 years, $10.9 million. So like he's taking a $3 million jump from this year to next year. That's easy money if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like that's not even a question. You're going to make that move and you're going to just feel fine with it. Zero questions asked.